Hello and welcome. My name's Keith, and today I'm going to do a video on making a beef madras curry.
What are you doing, Keith?
What?
What are you doing?
I'm making a video on it.
Yeah, what? Well, what about me? I am a co-owner of Patak Studios, you know that?
Yeah, but I'm doing a cooking video.
Oh,
I mean, it's very limited space here.
Well, you don't cut me out of things, do you?
Yeah, well, you know, but you're not a cook, are you?
Is this going to go on YouTube?
It will do.
Well, if you make any money out of it, I want half of it, you know that, don't you?
Well, you might be lucky.
Yeah, I will be lucky. I'll get the unions in on this, I'll tell you.
Hi, welcome to Blackman's Bay Studios. My name's Keith. My old mate Mick isn't with me today because I'm doing a cooking video on how to make a beef madras. I try to point out this is my version, it's the way I make it. And I'll tell you some of the things you won't see in this video. You won't see me slicing vegetables endlessly like some of these YouTube videos do. If you want to learn how to slice onions, you can go and look for yourself, things like that. You also won't see a video in slow motion. How many times you see these videos and they go, oh, I just put some of this in, and they're going like that, and they stir it and they're going like that. Well, you won't see any of that. So what you will see is my version of a beef madras, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to run through the ingredients for you. We've got 200 grams of rump steak. Now, you know, some people have said that using rump steak in a curry is a bit ostentatious, but I can afford it, you know, I can afford it. So we've got 100 grams of very thinly sliced onions. We've got 100 grams of diced tomatoes which have been skinned. I've got some peanut oil. I've got an oxo cube, which is an option, you don't have to use it. And I've got some sugar and also some Patak curry paste, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a while. I've got some sugar, as I said, that just helps the cooking of the onions. Optional extras that I like to put in, but you don't really need it, is a splash of superior dark soy, and I use that to give a nice colour to me curry, and also just a splodge of tomato paste. So I want to talk to you about the curry paste I use, which is this one here. There we are. I'm not being paid to use this product, by the way, or sponsored, which is, you know, one of those things. I use a couple of good heaped teaspoons of this paste. In the past I've made my own curry paste, I've ground my own spices, roasted them, ground them up. I've done what, and I still do occasionally, I do all of that. Mix all my spices, I do it. But a few months ago I bought a jar of this and I thought I'd try it out, and I was very happily surprised. It actually tastes beautiful, it gives a really nice curry. It's not a hot curry, it's just spicy, and it's really nice. The only thing about the paste is that it has to be cooked. I know, you know, I'm speaking the obvious, but if you started the curry sauce and tasted it, it would actually taste quite vinegary and harsh. But after you've cooked it down with meat and things like that, it actually mellows out and is a really lovely flavour. So yeah, and I'll talk more about that as I go through. All right. So that's really the only sort of tips. You won't be hearing about, I'll give you some indication of cooking times, but of course cooking times really, it depends on the pan you're using, depends on how high you put the heat on the cooktop, depends on a lot of things. It also depends on the cut of meat that you've got. If you're using a bit of old Alsatian leg, it might take you a lot longer than rump steak. But we'll see how we go. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. The cooking procedure won't take long because Like I said, you're not going to be watching me boringly go through it all. So, and I'll show you the end result later. Alright, thanks a lot. Right, I've got a hot pan there with about a tablespoon of peanut oil. You can use any oil, but that's what I prefer. In with the onions. Now I'm just going to sweat those onions down. I'll have a teaspoon of sugar. That just helps the process. Now sweat them down. I don't want to burn the onions, or if you use the chef's speak, caramelise them. All I'm looking for is a nice translucent cooked onions. And as I said, cooking times will depend on your personal circumstances. We'll come back when that's all done. Right, they've sweated down quite nicely. So the next step is to add the curry paste. As I said, this does need to be cooked. So what I do is I add 2 generously heaped teaspoons of the paste. There, that's all that's needed. Now you're going to cook that in for a little bit. Mix her up. As I said, this curry will make a generous portion for one, if you're greedy. And what I sometimes do, if I'm feeling a bit hungry, I also add a few parboiled potatoes at the end when I'm ready to dish it up. Right. It doesn't need a lot of frying, but it does need to, because we're going to cook it in a sec. Right, so that's there. Now we add the diced tomatoes. And I put an oxo in because I like the taste of it. It adds a little bit of depth, but as I said, you don't have to do this. Right, there. Give that a little cook. Now I prefer my curry sauces to be nice and smooth. So once I've cooked the sauce, I actually use the stick blender and blend it down into a nice sauce, and then I add the meat and cook that, which I showed. This here will need to cook for a little while. Those onions, by the way, cooked, they caramelise, not caramelise, they cook down in about 6 minutes on here, so that's not too bad. Now add a little bit of water, not too much at this stage because I'm going to blend it and then I can make it into the thickness I want afterwards. Right. There we go. Now I'm going to cook this for round about, once it comes to the boil, I'm going to cook this for about 20 minutes, and that will soften everything up and ready for blending. So I'll come back when it's ready for that. Okay, that's had about 1/4 hour. Looks pretty good to me. What I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to blend it with my stick blender. And when I've done that, I'll come back to you. Right, it's blended down very nicely. I'm just about to put the meat in. I did mention a couple of optional extras. As nice as that is, I like a nice dark curry or a darkish curry. So what I do is add a little bit of premium soy sauce into the, not much, and that sort of takes, you can see that now, see it will darken that a bit. Not too much, but that's just about right. And the other thing I add in, I'll go to the fridge, I like to add in a little bit of tomato paste as well. Coming to the end of it, but that'll be alright. Just a splash of the tomato paste, and that gives it a nice sheen, if you like. Now if you tasted this curry sauce, it would still taste very harsh and you'd be tempted to play about with it. But trust me, don't, because once the meat goes in, and the meat is going to cook for, I'll start it off at about 40 minutes. But again, it depends on the cut of meat that you use, and even if you use rump like me, each cut of rump will come up differently. So what I'm going to do now, I'll just stir that in now. I'm going to simmer this for about 40 minutes, come back and have a taste. It's the only way you can test whether the meat is done is by tasting it, and it might need a bit more, it may not. So I'll do that. Okay, Alexa, set a timer for 40 minutes.
40 minutes, starting now.
Right, and I'll be back to you shortly. Alexa, stop. Let's had 40 minutes, and I'm just going to check the meat, see if it's tender. So sometimes cooking time will depend on the cut of meat. That's going to need another quarter of an hour, so I'll put it back on. Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, starting now.
Alexa, stop timer. Right, let's have another taste. I'm probably 100% confident this is now fully cooked. Oops, come here. That's now fully cooked, fully done, ready for dishing up, which I'll show you later. I probably may add some parboiled potatoes to it later, but that sauce is mellowed down to a beautiful aromatic spicy sauce. Not overly hot, it's got a little kick, not overly hot, and hope you enjoy it, and maybe you could cook the same. Thanks very much. As we say, that is a superb Ruby Murray. Beautiful, look at that. You won't find better than that in any restaurant in the land. Well, there you have it. That's my beef Madras curry. Hope you like it. Click and like and share to, if there are any friends out there of your celebrity chefs, feel free to let them have a look at it. Maybe they can get some tips. I've done my bit for celebrity chefs this morning. I didn't have a shave. So looking a bit scruffy, which they all do now, these chefs on the telly. I wouldn't eat in any of their places, but that's just me. Okay, until next time, we'll see you later. Ta-ra. Bye.
This has been a Blackman's Bay studio production.